What's up everyone, and welcome to a build overview on my Spectrolus mana gen. So this right here is pretty much my setup for generating mana using the flower Spectrolus. So if you don't know what the Spectrolus is, it's a flower that will generate mana based when you give it wool. And the catch is it will take any wool, but it wants a certain one. It's like it will go in order. So let me get my wand of the forest. And if you look at it, you'll see it's on a certain wool that it wants. So one quick note, the way that they are set up like this, like they're in a 3x3, I have 4 of them, so these are pretty much 4 different setups. You can infinitely expand this if you wanted to, but if you put them in a 4x4 as so, whenever a wool drops into the middle, their affected radius is 1. So if I dropped the wool here, all 9 of these flowers get that wool. So it's the most efficient way in order to maximize your wool usage. Yeah, so 3x3 is the largest. I tried larger, it doesn't work. But anyways, so what happens is wool will get routed to these open crates that drop it onto the flowers, generating mana to this pool, which will then distribute to pretty much these pools and the pools up there. So let's quickly take a look upstairs. You can see it's full now, so it's stopped working. I'll show you how that works in just a second. But up here you can see all the mana pools are full. These ones distribute to these and so forth. But we're looking at the mana gen, not the actual mana setup. So yeah, so this keeps every pool up here full. Now if we head downstairs, we can look at the way this works. Well, first of all, it's turned off, as you can see. This is the logic for it, and it's turned off. These are timers with a redstone signal on the back. It's turned off by as you can see, the red string coming through. Let's head through the wall. There is a red string comparator right here that is, connected to it. That's at max distance. Then a comparator coming off of it, and that's has a power of 14, so meaning whenever it's full, it emits the redstone signal through it to the wireless transmitter, and the wireless transmitter will emit over here, turning off this setup. So now, to look at the actual logic of it, all it is timers starting at a minute, incrementing by 3 seconds continually. And as you see on these NRIO cables, they're all labeled the color. Like, you didn't have to do it this way, I just did it because it made it easier. They're labeled based on the color of the wool that they actually move. So they go in order. If you don't know the order, you can hold the one on the force and look at it as it goes in order. Or if you just look at wool, it goes in the NBT order, or metadata, or whatever it is. So it is this order right here. So yeah, so if mana were to leave that pool, you would see this would turn off and this would start running, which I think we're going to do real fast. So let's head back up top. Let's see if we can't make it work. So if I want to get a thing of Terra Steel, so that'll use a bit of mana. Let's see if that was enough to turn it on. As you can see, yeah, it took away from the pool. So now we should see that the redstone signal went off. So now this is running again. So it will only run whenever we actually need mana. So that's very important, so that doesn't waste any mana or any wool that we're getting. And I will show you guys how I'm generating wool too, just because I think it's kind of an essential part to it. So what this does is it activates each NRIO cable in order, 3 seconds apart. And what it will do is, if we look at white, it's over here, white activates this and this. So these are chests that are being routed wool. So they're just, served or filtered to have only a certain wool in it. So each of them might have their own. It is backstopped right now. I think I manually turned it off. Oh no, that's good. Anyways, I'm keeping one of each wool stocked in here with a fuzzy export. And that is, causing it to go. I think you just saw some wool go. Yeah, see? You can see it's working. So the cool part of this, since I have the translocators, is they're pretty much inverted. So like you can see, these are on and these ones are off. So whenever that timer hits it, the base timer is a long enough signal, it turns this side on and turns this side off, meaning that you're going to get 4 wool every time. So if we look at the translocator, you'll see it's partitioning 4. So it's going to put 4 over and then let them go when the signal's gone. And then from there, I have a retriever taking all the wool from any chests that are there, putting it into this chest, and then this set of cabling will round robin them up into what you saw over here, up into this chest. So the reason it looks like this is it was actually not behaving correctly with the round robining, so I had to do it like this. It ends up working, so it's fine. And, I think we might have missed the cycle, but that's okay. So that's what it's doing. So it's putting all the wool here, and then you know, obviously the item ducts or item conduits will just drop them into the open crates, and that will make them fall. And you see when it gets to the end, I have a repeater here. So the repeater is actually very important because whenever it's done doing its cycle, you want to hit the back of all these timers with the redstone signal in order to reset their cycle time, because it'll eventually get screwed up and it's not going to do them in order anymore. So it's very important that that's there. Okay, so this is about to start again, so let's get over here and watch. So we should see it go in order with white to start. Yep, there's white. Look at that. Getting sent to each of them. You can see now once orange goes to each of them. Magenta, I think that was. Light blue. Yeah. So it works pretty well. You'll see that these Gaia mana spires are putting them straight into the mana pool. So once that's full again, it's going to turn itself off, which is fantastic. So I mean, that's the basics of it. The tricky part was getting this set up. I tried using repeaters to redstone signal ducts, and it just wasn't consistent enough. The double translocators work very well. By the way, these are just set to go always with a redstone signal. I have the glowstone there just how it moves all of them at once. So that way, one timer, the time of a timer is enough. So we can take a look at this actually working here. Where are we at? Oh, maybe not. Okay, so I might have just finished its cycle. That's fine. So yeah, so where I'm getting the wool. So I have a couple places actually. So if I head down here, have the simple setup. Auto spawning sheep dying. But the thing is, that only gets you white wool, and sometimes black or light gray. It's not very common to get anything that isn't white with the auto spawner, because there's a black one, but because it's not set to exact copy, and I would have to have 16 spawners. It's a little hefty. But I also have a setup out here, outside, for one of each sheep. So you take my word for that each of these are a different color, and they're just being harvested. And I'm also breeding them and getting a little bit extra wool from, breeding. So this is getting me, some of each color. But then, since I have all that white wool, that export bus that I showed you, I have it set to automatically know how to craft. So what I can do is it uses floral powder that I'm generating infinitely from this farm right here. So hopefully I can see this go. Yeah, this should go here in a second. So this is generating flowers for us, and these flowers can be converted into the floral powder, which can then convert the wool. So you see it's just Hopperhawk picking them up, Redstone Mana Spreader hitting the drum, Jade Amaranthus going into the ender chest, which goes straight into the Emmy system. So yeah, that's how that works. And as you see, if we come down here, we have, as a result, a bunch of wool. So don't really have to ever worry about running out. As you can see, we have a lot more white than anything else because of the auto spawner farm. So that's how we get our wool. So it's very important that you don't run out, because then obviously it's not going to go in order, and you're just going to be wasting wool and not generating any mana. So I mean, that pretty much covers it for the way this works. I mean, the Botania is just pushing mana around so I can do all my things. I might make a video on some of the other stuff that it's doing right now, but we'll see. I do want to watch this go. Alright, so this should go here in just a second. So as you'll see, it'll click, and like I said, it just takes the pulse of the timer. You could do repeaters in front of them, but I didn't need to. And boom, you'll see it's gonna start going. See the orange wool go, magenta wool. I mean, it just looks really cool. Then you see it starts throwing robbing them. 3 seconds is pretty much the minimum that you can do between them, because this does take a few pulses, because it'll take 4 pulses per. So if you did expand it, you're going to have to increase the time between the timers in order to make sure that it finishes round robining before it puts more into that chest, or else you can have some trouble. So I just want to quickly show you guys. It's done doing its cycle. You'll see. Boom. And it resets everything. So now it's back on the same cycle, and then once that main mana pole fills up, it's going to turn itself off. I also have a manual shut off right here, and I believe a manual shut off right here for wool. So not necessary, but you know, I like to have them. So that is how this works pretty much. So this creates a lot of mana, especially because there's, you know, what, 36 flowers here. So it creates a good bit. Like just in the time of this video, you saw like it probably took half the mana pool. Well, it definitely took half the mana pool because it was a terror steel. It all came from this mana pool. So in just this time, you see how much we've gained. Yeah, so a significant amount. So that's the power of these Spectrolus flowers. So they're pretty good. But anyways, I think that'll do it for me for now, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this build setup. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. See you.